Good morning, everyone. It's Nick Petro from the National Weather Service in Raleigh with your routine weekly briefing for Central North Carolina. This briefing covers today through Sunday, the 8th of February. Let's take a look at some live data. What do we got going on here? We've got, if you're looking, this is visible satellite, and you're wondering, wow, are those clouds over us? No, that is snow. We're actually seeing what the snow would look like from space. If you were up in space and you look down, you'd see white coating on Earth, and that's what we're seeing. There's a few clouds here in the western part of the state. And perhaps even the radar's picking up a little bit of snow on the upslope facing mountains well to our west in the southern Appalachians. But this is all snow. So get my highlighter out here and you can see all the heavy snow that fell across along and east of I-95. You can see that little gap right there west of I-95, Triangle region down toward Fayetteville, and then of course you can see the heavy snow that fell in the western Piedmont, including the Triad area. So yeah, that's snow, and eventually, if you watch this over time, you'll see the white shades begin to shrink as the sun does its job to melt this. And some of it evaporates or sublimates too. So over time, it'll go away. But clearly, there's still plenty of snow that is yet to melt. And coupled with freezing temperatures the next couple nights, that's why there's going to be ongoing risk for black ice tomorrow morning as well. These are current temperatures, these numbers, and again, this is very classic. The higher the readings are where there's less snowpack, and the lower the readings where there's more snowpack. So that will affect high temperatures today. It'll be colder where the snowpack is deeper. All right, so let's go ahead and put this in motion and see if there's and take a different satellite view. Maybe we'll look at some water vapor imagery here to see if there's. And I apologize, just takes a moment for this to load in all the frames. But we want to take a look west and see what's yet to come. And clearly, we're in a favorable pattern now on the backside of the departing low that's moving offshore. And you can kind of see this sort of upper trough that's moving east. That's the backside. There's sinking air on the backside and giving us nice weather as high pressure builds in. There's another ridge out here over the southern Rockies, and there's some energy in the northern plains that's going to dip down. I should probably get my highlighter out so you can see that. There's a little bit of a ridge here. There's a little upper disturbance here, and then that's basically going to swing to the south and east, as we head through midweek. And again, before any cold front, what happens? The warm air comes up from the south ahead of cold fronts, right? So as this cold front pushes to the south and east, that'll give us a little warm up on Tuesday, tomorrow. So these things are pretty quick moving, and that's the setup as we head into. I'll get back to the slide I just skipped here in a moment, but there's the high pressure over us today. The high pressure will drift offshore tomorrow, and then that'll allow some southerly winds on the backside of the high to make it a little warmer. We're going to have to watch out for some patchy black ice tomorrow morning, though. It's going to be clear and cold tonight. The sun today will help with the snow melt, but if there's any snow melt water that may refreeze into patchy black ice tomorrow morning, that'll be, again, real patchy. A lot of the roads I drove on, in the Raleigh area, at least the interstates anyway, looked fairly dry to me as I was driving to work, but my neighborhood was still icy. So again, it's just going to take time for the sun to help get rid of a lot of that. So again, just watch out for some patches of black ice tomorrow morning. All right, and then what happens Wednesday? Well, that cold front that I pointed out in the satellite imagery earlier will move through. And ahead of that front, it'll be warm enough for some light rain. Now, we're not going to get a lot of rain out of that. We're talking, a couple tenths maybe if we're lucky. But then there's cold air right behind it. And as this front moves east, it could end as a period of very light snow Wednesday night through early Thursday morning. And I'll show our probabilistic snow maps here shortly. So, and then once that front pushes to our east on Thursday, it'll turn a little colder, and then we get a reinforcing shot of cold air late Friday night. I don't think we're going to have any precip with that next front. Friday night. Right now, the models have that coming through dry, but man, is it going to turn cold again for the weekend? Another blast of Arctic air. So the cold air just keeps coming. All right. So real quick, let me switch to. Hang on here. Let's. Okay. You know what? I'm just going to minimize. Bear with me for just a second. Whoops. All right. So let's go to, if it's weather you love, it's weather.gov. Click on Central North Carolina. That'll take you to our page here. And then let's scroll down and let's click on the winter weather tab. And, this is still some graphics that need to fall off after, in light of this past weekend storm. But if we click the probabilistic snowfall tab, this takes you to the next one. And what do I mean the next one? I mean that little nuisancey light snow on the backside of that precip event on Wednesday night. As the front's exiting and the rain moves out, the last bit of precip could end as a brief period of snow. Now, this is our official forecast amount. So, if you get from basically Goldsboro to Raleigh to Burlington northward, there could be maybe a half inch of snow. Let's just call it a dusting. Okay. So that's our official forecast. A trace, like down toward Albemarle to Fayetteville to Clinton, a trace is, hey, you see a couple snowflakes in the air, but it doesn't really even give you a dusting. Okay, so that's how minor we're calling this. Now, this is our low end amount, which means 9 out of 10 models have higher or the same. Okay, so basically when you see nothing but a blank map in the low end amount, that means there's models, could be quite a few models, but there's models that show that no snow will occur. On the high end, this is a map that says 9 out of 10 models have lower, or 1 out of 10 have higher. Okay, so we consider this the reasonable worst case scenario. And if you look at the reasonable worst case scenario, it's not that much different than our official forecast. So the takeaway from that, when the official forecast looks real close to the reasonable worst case scenario, that means there is a very tight ceiling and a low ceiling, or a very tight ceiling on the upper end snow amounts. In other words, I haven't been able to find a model that shows much more than a half inch or an inch of snow. Okay, so it's not like there's some outlier out there that's saying we're going to get multiple inches of snow on Wednesday night. No, I haven't found it. The models I've looked at that show snow, they all show, basically an inch or less, most likely less. Okay, so anyway, just wanted to point that out. Now, it's my experience that when you have cold air chasing the moisture, which that's what this is a cold air coming in behind the moisture as the moisture's trying to get out of here. Um, those systems generally, the snow generally underperforms, meaning that the models often show more snow than what actually ends up falling. So again, a cold air chasing the moisture scenario often disappoints in terms of producing snow. All right, so that's why there's not much difference between our expected amount, which is very light, and our high end amount. There's not much difference because usually these cold air chasing the moisture events don't produce a lot, if anything at all. Okay, so I think I've pretty much made that point fairly clear, I would hope. So back to our slides, and okay, I just talked about that. And then basically, when we take all the moisture, it's looking pretty light. Okay, and these higher amounts here down toward Wilmington that you see, this is that'll fall as rain. Okay, so keep that in mind. All right. No severe thunderstorm potential. Of course, it's pretty cold. You need warm air for severe thunderstorms. All right. And then looking further down the road, 8 to 14 day outlook shows temps averaging below normal, or at least odds favoring below normal, and near normal precipitation. You can see, interestingly, take a look at the normal highs. Greensboro 52, Raleigh 54, Fayetteville 56. So, when you put into perspective the fact that we're going to be in the 30s today, what, that's 15 plus degrees below normal. And tomorrow in the 40s, that's what, 10, roughly 10 degrees below normal. So anyway, you can have below normal temperatures, but it being above freezing. Like, case in point, tomorrow we'll be well below normal, but the temperature is going to be above freezing. So so anyway, as we look to the what I just showed on the previous slides, the 8 to 14 day outlook, on the bottom of this slide is the 3 to 4 week outlook, which again, once again, favors below normal temperatures. So the takeaway from this is what I have written above on the right. There's a clear signal in the long-term forecast data that temperatures will generally tend toward being below normal. Not necessarily at or below freezing, although that's quite possible at night, but below normal. Okay. But there is no clear signal whether precipitation will be above, near, or below normal. Okay. So if you are looking for warm air, yeah, unfortunately, we can't make those promises, at least for the next couple of weeks. If you're looking for snow, if you're a snow lover, well, then at least you have, I don't really see anything in the offing, or I don't see anything in the models, showing some kind of future big snow event. But it's always helpful to have the cold air in place, right? So if you're hoping for maybe one last winter storm before we end this winter season, the first thing you want to look for is whether it's going to be cold. And it will be cold. So anyway, if I was a snow lover, I'd be like, okay, at least we got that going for us, right? Let's just get some moisture in here. Well, there's really no signal as to whether or not moisture will or won't team up with that cold air, okay? But at least we'll have the cold air. But there's no signal for anything at least in the near future. All right. So I hope that makes sense. All right. So cold. All right. So wrapping up the graphical hazardous weather outlook, you could see the only hazards we expect for the week will be the cold, the extreme cold. You'll notice if you go on our webpage and click this and you see ice accumulation Tuesday and Wednesday, you might get a little nervous if you saw that, right? And when I first saw that, I was like, what's this for? We're not going to have ice accumulating Tuesday and Wednesday. And then it occurred to me that actually what that's capturing is the black ice concerns, okay? The lingering black ice concerns. So I really want to emphasize that is that if you click and if you're a regular user of our graphical hazardous weather outlook, you click on it and you see ice accumulation, no, 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 no. That's not a like freezing rain event. What that conveys is the lingering black ice concerns, not new ice accumulation. But then below that, you see the yellow box for the snow. That's just basically saying that we have snow in the forecast, but it's a limited risk level because the amount is going to be very, very, very light. Okay? All right. Okay, so let's wrap this up. Sunny today will help snow melt, but clear and cold tonight may result in patchy black ice concerns. A little warmer Tuesday ahead of the next front, but dry during the daytime. And then we have a period of light rain that will move across the state Tuesday night, tomorrow night through Wednesday. It could end as uh, a period of very light snow Wednesday night through Thursday morning. Again, maybe some place gets a trace, maybe some place gets a dusting, maybe a place gets, a half or 3/4 of an inch, but again, it should be very low impact. Colder but dry on Thursday, and then the next front will approach late in the week. That front should move through dry, uh, um, followed by another blast of Arctic air for the weekend. All right, watch out for that patchy black ice tomorrow morning and maybe even Wednesday morning. Um, yeah, yeah, well, Wednesday morning and Wednesday morning, I believe our temperatures actually are above freezing with that front moving through and some rain. So mainly tomorrow morning. All right, for that black ice. And then, cold weather will continue, much of the week while we will have rain with that front on Wednesday. It's still going to be 10 degrees below normal, even though it'll be in the 40s. So that's what I mean by cold. All right. Some very light, low impact snow at the end of the precip Wednesday night through Thursday morning. So keep that in mind as well. All right. So if anything changes with that, obviously we'll do briefings, we'll do PowerPoint slide or PowerPoint style slides and we'll keep you up to date. We won't let anything sneak up on you. Okay? So that's our weekly briefing for this Monday, the 2nd of February. And before I go, I do want to show you our friends downstairs. Well, the state climate office is actually in our same building. So big shout out and thanks to our friends at the North Carolina Climate Office. They did put out this snowfall total map. If you go to weather.gov/Raleigh, I put a link to their story, their write-up that includes this map on our webpage. Again, weather.gov/Raleigh, or you can get it right from the North Carolina State Climate Office website, or you can get it from us. But anyway, here's the snowfall total map, and you can see how things all played out. Okay, so that wraps up our briefing for this Monday morning.